Yeah, here comes Ngabu massacre in pursuit of the genocide against Southern Cameroonians, and I say international political economy is to blame. After I bled from the sole of my feet, trekking through the forest to escape a leaked assassination plot from the Cameroon security forces, my hope was that the Cameroon establishment will, after listening to the United States and Canadian heads of mission, with whom I had meetings averaging almost 2 hours each, were going to desist from transitioning from the cultural genocide that has the same age as our resubjugation to the ultimate but undesired physical phase that we have been experiencing in the last 3 years. Now I have been through 3 years of observing the inability of Cameroon establishment to repent and retreat. I was promised by the American and Canadian diplomats that they were going to speak to the government of Mr. Bobga as concerns the unacceptability of the use of lethal force on peaceful protesters. The Canadian Commissioner actually assured me he was taking up the question of the civil petition I had put before the Constitutional Council for determination of issues that underlie the current conflict that has now festered into a sore that threatens the entire Gulf of Guinea since July 2016. Had that petition been enrolled for hearing and heard, it could have served a safety valve to let out the steam from both sides and provide a platform for peaceful discussion towards a more inexpensive solution. To my chagrin, as each day passes, I see many layers, depths, and expanses of the war against southern Cameroon with legions of foreign and local interests, all wearing the willing mask of French Cameroon establishment. The criminally complicit silence of the international community initially appeared like a dream, but it has now taken solid form, pointing to the one single reason for the inhumanity and hypocrisy of the rest of humanity against the Southern Cameroon's segment of humanity. And I dare say that speaks to the entire African peoples. In truth, I beg your pardon, the truth of the matter is that those victors of the World War II who put their feet on the ground, that notwithstanding the violative contradictions of denial of Southern Cameroon's accession to pure and simple independence per the United Nations Charter and more, these victors had, as far back as those late 50s, carried out a legislative genocide on the peoples of Southern Cameroons. I accuse them, and I can prove them wrong anytime. When the British and French on September 30th, 1961, facilitated the infamous quote unquote two alternatives plebiscite, reenacted slave trade by British selling southern Cameroons and their sovereign land to France, their common excitement over what they both thought was a perfect crime had leaking cracks from the inconclusiveness of the supposed Fumban constitutional talks. Two things are most evident now in this genocide against southern Cameroons. Firstly, foreign interest in mineral riches of southern Cameroon has placed those commodities of international political economy to be of higher value than human lives of southern Cameroonians and rendered us disposable so as to pave the way for the extraction of the minerals at no cost and no resistance. Secondly, by the corruption of blood-sucking elite or leadership of French Cameroon Republic and virtually all Africa for that matter, Africans are more effectively enslaved than when they were transported across Africa. I am confident that the pain of Ngarbuh massacre will not simply prick but will burn with invisible acid and then scar the conscience of humanity outside southern Cameroon and hopefully force them to rethink their silence. Ngarbuh is judgment on all the criminal parties I have identified here above and not an incident calling for a mockery of investigation by the principal perpetrator. Logic teaches me that an offender can never objectively investigate himself. At least this is a window of opportunity for the international community that has decried such crimes to the extent of setting up an international criminal court, even though it is designed to try essentially African leaders or Africans or persons who are not victors of the Second World War. This is an occasion where we agree to the philosophy and practice of the International Criminal Court. We are therefore calling on the United States and its friends, whom they know, I know the countries I'm referring to step up and engage in an independent inquiry into the Ngarbuh massacre, because this is going to be the only entry point into the rest of the genocide incidents that have been occurring on a continual basis for the last 3 years in southern Cameroons. We are saying this cognizant of the fact that the world is now wired differently. Stop the killing and let us talk like human to human and work out a win-win strategy for the minerals that you so much love. Because, yes, it is our blessing from God, but given the way the world has developed, we cannot take full advantage of those minerals, of those blessings, without partnering with you. But let it not be another opportunity for annihilating us or enslaving us. Humanity is one. And I'm sounding this call to the conscience of that one humanity. Take on the spirit of Ubuntu and let's make the world a common family. Thank you for listening.